Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, India, and welcome to our first series in Sustainability Dialogues 2022. Sustainability is a word that we're hearing much more often on industry corridors. The concept of making changes in the long term that we might not live to see, is something that has come about in the last 10 years. This concept of making change for the future is not new to India, where philanthropy has been strong. Sustainability, however, is an internal giving, where philanthropy has been external giving. And the biggest change we see in this way of thinking is that industry and sustainability, making business for a greater good, are not in competition. We have with us today expert speakers from industry to provide the case studies of walking the talk and making change. We are doing this, Sweden India Business Council is doing this in partnership, and it's only made possible because of our partnership, both with the Embassy of India in Sweden and the Swedish Chamber of Commerce in India in Delhi. The Swedish Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Delhi, sorry. We would ask everyone to mute your microphones unless you want to speak. And of course, as you can see, today's format is a meeting, not a webinar, because we'd like these dialogues to be sharing of best practice, challenges, what can be done, how we can do things differently. And we begin each session during the year with experts giving us food for thought, sharing their case studies and what they've done, and then we respond and ask them and share with each other. We are very happy today to have a keynote speech by the Ambassador, His Excellency Tanmaya Lal, Ambassador of India to Sweden, to share with us a few words as we begin the 2022 Sustainability Dialogues. Ambassador, if you could start.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Arati. May I first offer greetings on the International Women's Day today. Compliments to the SIBC team for initiating these sustainability dialogues. All of us know that modern economies have been built on an unsustainable resource extraction and carbon footprint. Therefore, sustainability is not only a responsible act, but also makes a sound business sense going forward. Sustainability is a cross-cutting theme. It is linked intimately with climate action, energy, circular economy, technologies, and competitiveness. We are in Sweden, and Sweden is a global leader in sustainability. Swedish companies are pioneers in coming up with innovative solutions and cleaner technologies. And Swedish consumers are contributing by opting for sustainable products. As you mentioned, sustainability also has a long tradition in India and is now regaining momentum. This green transition presents a huge opportunity for collaboration and while contributing to a more sustainable economy and lifestyles. If we talk about Sweden and India, we have been partners in this field for a very long time. Businesses, government, or academia. This partnership is not only at a bilateral level, but also at a global level, and it goes back a very long time. I could refer to the 5 decades ago in 1972, the first ever the UN conference on human environment was hosted by Sweden in Stockholm. It was the first such global effort. And India was among the only invited countries who participated at the head of government level. This was actually 2 decades even before the start of climate change negotiations. A few weeks back, Foreign Minister Ann Linde, in a special video message on the occasion of India's Republic Day, had said that India had raised the profile of that conference and that India ensured its success. Today, this partnership is reflected strongly in our joint global initiative of Lead IT, Leadership Group on Industry Transition, which promotes cleaner technologies for the industrial sectors that have a far more intense carbon footprint, such as cement or steel and others. This coalition is growing fast. US had joined this group some months back. Last year, Sweden also joined the International Solar Alliance, which is an Indo-French initiative, and now has nearly 100 countries as its members. Only yesterday, the Wall Street Journal had carried an article on this ambitious initiative and what different threads of developments are there in that context. Both India and Sweden are pushing for cleaner transition for these hard to abate industrial sectors. And this will require innovative technology solutions. Pioneering actions are underway in Sweden in achieving cleaner production of both steel and cement. Some months back, I visited the new hybrid steel plant in Luleå in North Sweden. And it was exciting to see the breakthroughs being achieved to produce with clean hydrogen instead of coking coal at scale to provide this cleaner solution. I also had the opportunity to visit Aditya Birla's Domsjö Fabriker biorefinery near Örnsköldsvik that produces cellulose, and to learn about their sustainable practices, including the production of bioethanol from the same plant. More recently, at Tata Steel's Surahammar's Brook establishment, which is one of the oldest companies in Sweden, I learned about the emerging technology trends and sustainable solutions through the ultra-thin electrical steel being produced there, which is being used in electrical vehicles, aviation, and medical sectors. Indian firms and professionals are also deeply engaged in the ongoing digital transformation and offering sustainable solutions in the Swedish economy and society. A number of Swedish think tanks and other institutions, such as the IVL, the Swedish Environment Research Institute, or the KTH Royal Institute of Technology, and its industry partners are working on various projects relating to water and waste management sectors with Indian partners. The Indian and Swedish government agencies are also funding joint R&D projects on areas such as smart grids or smart city solutions, circular economy, or energy efficiency. If we look at India, India is not only ahead in meeting its Paris commitments, but at the recent COP26 in Glasgow, India once again hugely raised the bar of our climate action targets. 500 gigawatt of non-fossil energy by 2030, half of our total energy from renewables by 2030, reduction of 1 billion tons of carbon emissions by 2030, reduction of energy intensity of our economic growth by 45% by 2030 over 2005 levels, and 1 million tons of hydrogen production annually by 2030. So these are huge targets for any economy, and these impact all sectors. In India, startups are demonstrating fast charging of electric vehicles. An Indian startup that developed the low-cost portable technology, converting agriculture waste biomass into usable fuel while reducing pollution, has been recognized recently for the Earthshot Prize. And many such innovators and startups are also supported by the government. Innovation, sustainability, and green transition remain the core areas of India-Sweden partnership. A few days back in Nairobi, our environment and climate change ministers had met at the 50th anniversary of the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP. In fact, the establishment of UNEP was one of the major outcomes of 1972 Stockholm Conference. And at their recent meeting, our ministers discussed the upcoming Stockholm Plus 50 conference that Sweden will host in June this year. We look forward to continued collaboration between our countries, especially on sustainability. And I would once again like to thank the SIBC for organizing these sustainability dialogues, and look forward to listening to all the professionals in this field here about their vision, experience, and initiatives. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Lal, thank you so much. And you mentioned Stockholm Plus 50 in the 1972 start to the UNEP conferences. And that's something, of course, that the sustainability dialogues will pick up as well. After the Stockholm Plus 50 conference in Stockholm later in June, we would like to host another one of these dialogues in person, physically in Stockholm, to actually learn from the dialogues, the communication, and where we go next, again, led by industry partners. So with that, I move to our speakers. And with us today, and just before I start, of course, to the audience that's with us, and everyone is off camera as far as I can tell, we would like very much for you to come on camera to have a sharing and a dialogue with our experts. So if you feel comfortable, it would be great to have your cameras on and we have a discussion starting off with the industry speakers providing presentations. So going back to our panelists, we have with us Sukmani Kaur, Senior Sustainability Analyst at Oriflame, Pavan Bagaria, President Global for HR, IT, Admin, and Education with Tata Technologies. Wolfgang Steiner, Sustainability Business Lead at Wipro. Pratyush Panda, Head Sustainability CSR at Larsen & Toubro Infotech. And Prashanth Bidnekar, DGM Sustainability at SKF India. What we'll do today is have a brief introduction from each of the speakers, and then we'll open up into Q&A. I will start by asking some of the speakers the questions we've had, but then we would like very much for the audience to come on board and share your questions to any one of the speakers, perhaps other people in the audience that you know and recognize and have questions to as well. We want this to be as informal a process as possible. If we were all in the same place, this would be a round table and we'd be having coffee and cake to help our discussion. But since we're online, this is the best that we can do, but we would like to make it still as interactive as possible. So grab your coffee, grab your cake, and let's start. To start us off in the discussion today, I'm going to ask Sukhmani Kaur to give us your presentation.
Hello, everyone. I will start by sharing my screen. Let me know once you can see it.
Sukhmani, we can see it.
I'm sorry for the multiple notifications. Let me just, it's not going into presentation mode. Yeah. So a brief about me. Hello, everyone. I am Sukhmani. I am a senior sustainability analyst and I lead Oriflame India's efforts on sustainability. I am responsible for calculating the company's impact. I'm also responsible for driving awareness and communication initiatives. And also I am leading the extended producer responsibility for Oriflame India and driving local sustainability projects. So that's a brief about me, and I would like to introduce about Oriflame. Oriflame is a global social selling beauty and wellness company with presence in about 60 countries. Our portfolio of nature-inspired beauty products are marketed through our brand partners as we are a direct selling company. That said, we are a Swedish brand and sustainability has always been a part of our heritage. Since this business was built, it has been a part of our values of our brand positioning, which is beauty is more than how you look. It is about how you act, how you feel, and how you live. It is also about creating responsible products which are safe for the people and planet. Through our business model, we provide entrepreneurship and economic opportunities for our brand partners to improve their lives for the due to the financial independence that we offer to millions of women around the world. But that said, as a beauty brand, we are bound to have some impact on the nature because of the products that we sell in different geographies. So our sustainability strategy focuses on minimizing this impact and focuses on protecting climate, forest, and water so that our employees, our brand partners, they feel proud of what they represent. Now, as a social selling company, we are also very strong on people culture. We were awarded a great place to work in 2021. And this is a global authority in workplace culture. Their survey of 100 million people establishes what makes workplaces great, which is trust. And we can say that at Oriflame, we are all about people, and whether it is our brand partners or our employees, we have this trust in them that the opportunities provided to them can translate into a real positive change. This is why we have our sustainability ambassadors program. wherein we have employees not specifically from sustainability related roles, but across departments to drive sustainability within the organization. Then we also have created employee touch points so that employees can be on board this journey of incorporating the sustainability strategy within the company. So we have created small touch points so that everybody with us is with us to on this path to become a sustainable company. So that is about it, very brief and short about Oriflame.
Really great, thank you. But before we move on to the next speaker, I'd like you to tell us about yourself, just 2 sentences.
About myself, I come from an engineering background, and and in my fun time, I think I am very much into upcycling, and I like to make things out of waste. Probably this comes as a part of my field, but slowly I think I have taken quite pride and quite, I mean, I have developed this hobby and I am loving it. So very short about me.
So that's great. The reason I ask also is because, as we said before, especially today's thematic focus is about people. And as much as you represent Oriflame, we are also a part of that process. And given your hobbies, it makes Oriflame a stronger place to be. Thank you so much. And we're going to move on to Pavan Bulgaria from Tata. So Sukmani, I'm not sure if you could stop sharing, or if Pavan can share. Great, thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon, friends. Can you see my screen? Can you see the screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So thanks, Aarti and SIBC for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, I would like to wish all the women here and at large a very happy International Women's Day. Women has been working quietly for ages for sustainability of Mother Earth. And I think today we give it various names, but they have been working without knowing or with knowing. And so starting the sustainability dialogue today on Women's Day, I think is a great way to, give tribute to the hard work and whatever, work they have been doing quietly. And so I'm really grateful for that. And congratulations to SIBC for doing it. I'm Pavan Bulgaria. I have been in automotive manufacturing and IT industry for close to now 4 decades and have been in various roles. And recently I moved into HR, and my responsibility is to really transform HR for employee engagement, which is very critical for talent management in our kind of industry. So that's where my focus is. Now, as far as Tatas are concerned, they are one of the largest industry house in India and now globally. In fact, 60% of the revenue from Tata Group comes from outside India. And they are known for their ethical values and also sustainability and CSR and various community work. In fact, the foundation of Tata Groups is that finally all the companies, they work for Tata Sons has a share in them, and then whatever profit comes from Tata Sons, a good portion of that goes to 2 trusts, and these trusts finally work on communities for uplifting the people, their life, their education, their sustainability. So Tata, when it comes down to finally where the money is going, it's all about giving back to the communities. That's the foundation as far as the group is concerned. The approach of Tata's has been that, it's not about handouts, because once we do handouts, then once the we decide to take away that particular, money or facility to people, then the whole system collapses. And that's not sustainability. And then you are, people will say that you didn't do a good job, and it becomes a very, very difficult kind of a situation. So right from the beginning, our approach has been in enabling people, and that is why, so that it can be self-sustained and not something which we are doing today, and then once we pull the funding, then after that it all collapses. So that has not been there. We started a company which does jewelry, machinery, and eyewear and multiple things. And it was opened at a place where there were no skill for these. So first, a training institute was opened where people were trained for doing jewelry manufacturing and various other fine work. And today, that's one of the best performing company we have got. It is in the southern part of India, and it has got showrooms all across. But it has created a community which is thriving based on this company's development. When we talk about Tata Technology, so we are one of the maybe 89 odd companies, and we are small, about 9,000 people, and spread across the globe. We are trying to live the values of Tata's in a best possible way. Our vision is engineering the better world. And when we say better world, we are talking about sustainability. So when it comes to our core business also, we are focused on developing technologies and products in automotive, etc., which are sustainable and green. And we are known for our capabilities in doing electrification of vehicles, lightweighting, frugal engineering, which is finally focused on reducing the carbon footprint. Now, that's what we do for, you can say, living or our business. Alongside, Tata Technology has focused primarily on education, and we have various, you can say, initiatives. And so far, we have been able to touch more close to 1 million lives directly through our various programs. And just to talk about few, so we have a program called Ready Engineer, where we are going to institutes in 2 clusters, where we are talking about, maybe better to show one slide here. So this is what I was talking about: reduced carbon footprint, vehicle lightweighting, engineering, vehicle development, smart manufacturing technology. All this help you go sustainable. But if you look at other than what we do from a business perspective, we have a program called STEM. This is focused on rural folks. It is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we are trying to build people through this program. And as you can see the number, almost 900,000 people have been trained through this program. It touches various age group of people in rural area. We are trying to train teachers, a lot of innovation. I was talking about Ready Engineer. Close to 7,000 people are already trained through this program in colleges so that they can get better jobs. They are ready for industry, and they can take their life together. Then empowerment through education. Now here, this is very close to my heart, because what we are doing is in rural areas, we are identifying bright women and we are supporting them all through their education. And as of today, I can say about 610 women engineers are in various stages of getting passed, and they are going to create, life, and they are going to be sustaining their family where they didn't have any dream of doing that. So we are doing that. Similarly, integrated rural development programs we are running, where we are, targeting farmers and then families to add value to their life. And normally, in general, while these are sustained program which happens in Tata Technology, we also do disaster support at any point in time. During pandemic, there was, I think, about 200 million was supported by Tata's at a group level. Our company did at a small level, whatever we could do. And so we really want to be responsible citizens in the world, and we want to play our part as far as sustainability is concerned. So with these words, I stop here. Thank you.
Pavan, thank you so much. And when we spoke earlier this week, the breadth of work Tata is doing is so impressive. And it does come to mind, especially in the work you're doing with education. If you give someone a fish, they eat for a day, but if you teach them how to fish, they eat for life. And that's very much coming out from the work that you're doing. And of course, like I said to Sukhmani, it would be great for the audience to know a little bit about you. Just one or two sentences to give us a background of who it is that's doing this work.
Aarti, you're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. So actually, there are different groups. As far as we are concerned, we have a
sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt, Pavan. Just an introduction to you to give a little bit more so the audience knows who you are.
Okay. So thanks. So I am a 1983 batch mechanical engineer, and I had done my MBA from one of the premier institute in India. And I started my life in manufacturing, so I understand manufacturing quite well. And then I moved into manufacturing IT and pure IT also for some time. And then I was privileged to set up a complete new engine plant, which was fuel efficient for newer engines. So that was something which was a memorable project for me. In 2001, I was in Japan as a transformation program manager for General Motor and other automotive companies, supported them through their business. And then I moved to Singapore and Thailand, where again, a similar role. And then I came to Tata Technology. I was leading business, a sizable portion of business as far as Tata Technology goes. And recently I took over as global HR head along with other responsibilities. But one of the responsibilities which I have is very close to my heart, that is education vertical, where we are trying to establish COEs in the industrial training institutes, which are in rural part of every state. And Karnataka was the first one where we are doing 151 ITIs upgrade, where we are providing complete industry 4 related training to people. Same thing is being done in Bihar, Assam, and Manipur, and Jammu and Kashmir, and many more are coming. And through these COEs, people are seeing a lot of hope because they are being armed with the latest technology knowledge and new manufacturing techniques. And because of that, they will be part of the important part of the workforce. And the numbers are staggering. In Karnataka alone, in my mind, 120,000 students a year out of 151 ITIs. So you can imagine the multiplier effect as far as the impact is concerned. Similarly,
when we spoke the week, that was something that came across in terms of the educational efforts that Tata is doing. And we'll come back to that in the questions later. But thank you so much for the introduction.
Thank you. Thank you.
So with that, we actually now move to Prashant from SKF. Prashant, if you want to start with a brief introduction to yourself, and then we can move to the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Aarti. Am I audible now?
You are.
And are you able to see my screen?
Not yet. Now we can.
Yes. Thank you very much all for asking SKF to join for this program. Let me introduce myself. My name is Prashant Pednekar, and I'm responsible for developing and implementing and monitoring sustainability strategy in SKF India Limited. And as a part of sustainability, I work in the areas of circular economy, net zero, stakeholder engagement, materiality, and resource efficiency life cycle assessment project. So to give a brief about myself, I have been part of manufacturing earlier. Then I've been a 6 Sigma black belt, worked with HR and community care, and now I'm working on sustainability part of SKF. About SKF, you must be knowing SKF is 110 years old company based out of Sweden. And in India, we have started operation 23 with the marketing, and 1960 in manufacturing. We have 6 plants across India, and all the plants are having good sustainability practices. So we'll be sharing with you about Escape's sustainability journey and how our employees are connected with the sustainability framework and working for our business, environment, employees, and community. So as a Escape, our customer are looking forward from us for the bearing and services. And they want reduced friction, assets to run faster, longer, and cleaner, and with more safety, solving the most efficient, effective and sustainable way to contribute our vision of world without rotation. And for that, we have sustainability as one of the driver of Escape, wherein we ensure the sustainability at Escape with the Escape Care model, which talks about business, environment, employee, and community. Each of the area, like business care, we have various products which are helping customer to reduce friction, to have a lesser GHG emission, and also recycling or the circular economy of our products. In the environment part, we have our own net zero strategy. Our plants shall be a net zero by 2030, and our target to make our value chain net zero by 2050. And for that, we have various energy efficiency projects running across plants, which are about the bilateral trading of energy. Then we have solar plant within the plant, and we are also working on the doing the resource efficiency project or reducing the energy uses at our plants. Our employees are involved in all the sustainability related activity, and we are proud of the connect with sustainability. We have done various programs through our employees for sustainability within our production. They are doing the Kaizen, which are based on the energy and environment. We have special sale of green manufacturing where employee work only project on the resource efficiency, reducing the various uses of various resources like steel, the material, or the water, the chemicals, the plastic, as well as oil, etc. In the community care, our employees are involved with doing the plogging activity and seed ball activity, and also working with community for tree plantation and waste drives. So this is about SKF. Over to you, Arti.
Thanks so much, Prashant. And of course, in our conversation also, and we'll come to it later on in the conversation today, there's so much being done in-house to actually upskill everyone on the shop floor to be part of this change. And that's something that we want to tease out in more detail as we go through the dialogues today, because sustainability can often be a very abstract concept. And I think with the speakers we have here today, we have very operational, tangible actions being taken. So thank you so much for giving us a little bit of that, and we'll have more in the conversation later.
Thank you.
With that, I hand over to Pratyush from L&T to give us your introduction. Pratyush, please.
Is my screen is visible?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Arti, Honorable Ambassador and fellow panelists. Thank you so much for the opportunity on this platform. I'll be very focused on the topic of today's on employee engagement as a part of the sustainability dialogue. And within employee engagement at L&T Infotech, I'll be focusing on few areas which is very much related to today's date on Women's Day, when the entire globe is celebrating. So I'll be taking you through three things here. One is how employee engagement at LTI is being done on as a part of DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion. Second, how the digital divide in education has taken place during the pandemic and how LTI has addressed it with its technology support. And that last but not least, the work-life balance for our employee engagement. So before I go, I'll try to share three stories to all of you. The middle one, the Safa quote, a girl from outskirts of the Mumbai, whose father is a roadside teller, and hardly there was any earning to the family. She is falling in the PWD categories because of her hearing impaired. Found out by one of our employees while going to her father for some uh, household requirements, brought her to our training center, got her trained, and today she is operating as a data entry operator in the entire supply chain within our LTI system. The second case is about Sneha from Karnataka, who is again from a very lower middle class, ultra poor family. Mother is a maid, and family is headed by her mother. And again, the Somya, one of our front runner volunteers among the LTI's employees, found it out her from the community, brought her to our digital platform, gave her full support of 3.5 years, and she secured 95% plus in the 10th, and pursuing her career, she wanted to be a banker going ahead. The third one, Sundar Lakshmani, a woman farmer, she was a small and marginalized family categories with respect to their size of the land, because it would not have been half acre of land. LTI and the volunteers supported her on the plantation of orchard. And today her earning is like 4.5 lakhs per annum. In all the three cases, our volunteering approach is not for a couple of hours, not for 6 hours or one day on a working day going and supporting. It's like mentor-mentee support with whom work. Okay, that's a basic ethos of employing volunteerism at L&T Infotech. I'll explain all those three things, how we are working on those lines. Like one of the project I earn, this project is specially designed for person with disability, wherein one of our employees is attached to this kind of a group of students to facilitate them, talk to their parents, motivate them, empower them, and feel them at par with the rest of the human being. We always say normal human being doesn't know sign language. People with disability knows. So they are not abnormal. They are not even normal. They're normally one step ahead than rest of the human being on this earth. With that principles we work, and today thousands of such students from PWD category are being supported by our employees directly, indirectly, even through online, and providing them a better career by making them in par with respect to IT skills. Coming back to India's biggest platform called Quizable, we recently, 15 days back, commissioned our 7th edition, wherein more than 5,000 person disability talented students comes together and appear for a quiz test. And the winners are like a national winner. One of the case study on the right side, the boy who is standing, he was 2 years back-to-back winner 2 years back, and he was wanted to be a astroscientist, but the college in Chennai denied him admission to science physics. He went to High Court, showed off the quizable certificates, and High Court order were in his favor. And today this is a bright case study, and the reference point of any PWDs goes to sought for justice in India. This is again a project on digital sancture, whereas youth are be given IT, ITOS skills, IoT and SOS kind of skills, and provide them a career counseling and support them to get absorbed in any of the companies around the big cities. Again, thousands of students are going through, and in the entire process, 63% of them are girls. These are some of the photographs where we are supporting women artisans. The right side bottom line photograph, you see the 4 women-headed families, how they were supported by our own employees on day-to-day to create their employability skills, enterprise skills, and sustain their families. This is again a virtual learning site. All our L&T offices are equipped with a specific area called CSR corners. Any of the employee can go there, connect to the community far away, thousands of kilometers far away to a community through our NGO partners, and can take different classes based on their skills. And it is not like ad hoc, it is very pedagogical process has gone into it. There are timetable T8, and people are taking those classes on years after years, so that the virtual classes are on. For everybody's understanding, I must tell you here, in India during COVID 2 years, only 8.72 students going to government schools in India could able to successfully complete their course. Imagine what happened to the 90%. They were simply dropped out because they belong to ultra poor and do not have access to digital. That's where digital breeze is being that created has been filled by our LTI employees directly. These are again Juri Aryabhat project, wherein the students are allowed to come out their ideas to become a small scientist of their village, their talukas, block, district, and state. And they've been given all support to create their dream innovations. And today on our website, more than hundreds such innovations are being there. And in LTI, all that dispenser of, like during COVID, we use for our hand washing and all, is being designed by a Juri Aryabhat project student from rural India's outskirts of the Pune area. Again, coming back to the same kind of things we have just heard about, through our NGO partners, the basics of technology is being provided by creating 4 different labs inside schools and being provided them a platform, again putting them into a national platform with the help of Government of India, Ministry of Education, under which vocational skills is one of the prime thing going on. This is again, we have a habit of using felicitating or rewarding employees or anybody as our guest by certifying them with the green certificates by planting trees with them. Here again on the Dan Utsav, all our employees comes together and brings out their own money, time, energy, and reaching out to beneficiaries. It's like in this pandemic also, almost 2 lakhs rupees of grant was made by employees out of their pocket. Almost 1,000 beneficiaries was reached out. 311 are volunteers that directly participate not only by money, by organizing the entire project. This is one of the awesome thing I must tell you with respect to work-life balance. SEC has its one-step mile app, which is with every employees, and employees can go inside and can compete with other employees with respect to their any of the sports kind of thing. We have started with running and jogging, but it is now graduating towards swimming and yoga and other things also. Every 50 kilometers that the employee completes, LTI plants 1 tree in his or her name. And same, they can also get it donated to some other in the family and others also. And this is how almost every day, like average 2,000 plus employees are being participating in this app-based module, wherein they can record everything, they can generate their certificate, they can compete within. It's just to have neck towards fitness and have a work-life balance at our end. This is not only in India, at abroad also, the same thing is continued with our US and Canada office in a very big way on a day-to-day facility. This I've already discussed, and this was not possible without like 1 hour or 2 hours of job. It is because of mentor-mentee support that we have reached out to 0.16 million through employee volunteerism process, and wherein 10,000 plus our employees are working. Finally, thank you everyone on this auspicious day. Again, I'll say, let's break the bias. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Pratyush, thank you so much. That's a very inspirational presentation, and something that's come up here, of course, but has been part of the previous presentations as well, that we'd like to go into in the questions, is the role of technology to do this. Employee engagement and sustainability is in a very unique position today because we have technology, digitalization, and startups that can help us reach where we want to be faster than maybe we were 5 years ago. So that's a great presentation. Thank you so much. And to come to Wipro, Wolfgang, to take us into the conversation, the Q&A. Over to you.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be part of today's discussion, and I appreciate also the attention having the Ambassador Lal joining the topic and to discuss. what needs to be done and how we can include our teams in achieving and progressing on sustainability. I would like to also congratulate you on for the International Women's Day, but actually, in fact, I would rather call it an outcry. The fact that we need that day to raise the attention, and actually even more shaming. I'm dialing in. I'm located in Munich, and in Germany only yesterday we had the Equal Pay Day. So on the 7th of March, which marks basically 18% less time, or converted into compensation of female participation for the same work to it. I know you in Sweden, you are a bit ahead, but actually not too much. The Equal Pay Day in Sweden is, I believe, on the 26th of February, so only last week, basically. I think we need to continue with that until we have reached Equal Pay Day on the 1st of January. There is no way to stop before that. At Wipro, we are a bit better when it comes to that mark. Our Equal Pay Day marks basically the 29th of January to it. And that is that's also for our India numbers to it. But still, 1st of January, no way to stop any earlier. Maybe let me start to introduce myself. I am leading our go-to-market activities at Wipro for our sustainability engagements, where we use technology, data, digital innovation, strategic design, Arati, as you said, in order to help our clients to progress on sustainability, and basically end-to-end, because we can utilize these tools and these means for progress on it. And I believe it's also a responsibility for us to engage on that matter and to convert our engagements into that direction. Originally, I've grown into Wipro through Design It, which is a 100% daughter company of Wipro, strategic design leader, Scandinavian born. So that has also brought me very close to the region, working with teams in Sweden, in Denmark, in Norway, and of course also around the world. But I believe with that relationship and with that background and context, I appreciate exactly the bridge between Sweden or Scandinavia in general and India to it. You've asked for actually 2 slides, so I've prepared only 2 slides. And when we spoke, Arati, on how employee engagement is brought into sustainability progress, I had to think of this saying around the village. So it takes a village in order to raise a child. That's the original meaning to it. But I truly also believe it takes a village in order to progress on sustainability. And move to this screen. And just like Pavan also in Tata, Wipro has a long-standing tradition in doing good and in engaging in social aspects. And actually, this legacy already has helped us to accelerate and to progress pretty quickly and to establish a very holistic and systemic approach to sustainability in total. In fact, we have 30 dimensions, believe it or not, 30 dimensions across sustainability aspects, of course, including environmental, social, governmental, policy aspects to it, but really allowing for a holistic perspective to it. And we've also progressed from not only reporting on sustainability, but from balancing and accounting across what we understand are our 5 capitals. So not only the financial capital for our annual reporting, but also including the human, the environmental, the social and relationship aspects, and of course our intellectual property as an outcome. And I believe there is no way around playing the whole topic holistically and to understand how everything is connected with each other. One aspect for sure is education, ecology and community care to it, and that's basically coming from our roots to it. The founder family, Premji, they have very early brought an entrepreneurial spirit into the program as well, understanding a corporation as a socio-economic citizen to it. And that brings me back to the metaphor of a village to it. So understanding that also we at Wipro as a corporation are consisting of a large group of citizens, more than 200,000 people these days. But we've also understood that it is not about philanthropy only. It can't be. So it is not about charity. It's really about initiatives. And it's about understanding the power to do, and the power to do good is not an option. It is actually a responsibility. And that's also what is showing across all the programs that we set up. It is not of oh yeah, we are so generous and we do that, and we grant that, but we expect our teams to actually participate in those topics. Of course, one aspect is people at workplace to it, and I wanted to stop at this because employee well-being is important. Talking also about inclusion of women, or in general the diversity of humankind on that matter, to allow for community engagement, to allow for a safe environment where people can allow to be themselves and to give their best. And we know that people can give their best only when they feel free and safe to it. Learning and development, to bring that into the program as well. And again, coming back to the aspect that also means, as a consequence, that sustainability needs to be everyone's job. And that's what is basically showing then on aspects. And it also calls for flexibility to some extent. So, of course, we need to be very diligent since we report on our 5 capitals, as I mentioned earlier on. This is going to the business community, and it is also monitored by all NGOs and by all institutions, whether we live up to our promises, to our pledges, and we are very serious about it. But we also know that we need to give the freedom, understanding that spirit matters, and also understanding that what counts really and what is not necessarily everything that can be counted to it. So we've given freedom and free way also for initiatives that can thrive, not necessarily having to deliver back a black and white balance sheet in terms of what has been progressed. It is more important to allow the participants and our team members to be led by passion and to be led by their interest and to be empowered to engage on the topic. Maybe a bit more concrete on diversity, on equality and inclusion on the topic. As said, I believe the safe environment is super important as a workplace to it, and I take pride in the fact that actually the Human Rights Campaign Foundation only a couple of weeks ago gave us the full score, the perfect score of allowing and granting that. This is great. We also enjoy the recognition of the Bloomberg Gender Equality Index, which is also a nice recognition to it. And I believe it is it's a good achievement, an interim step. The fact what I mentioned already earlier, that our gender pay equality index is at 0.92%, but it's not at 100% to it. And I could also take pride in the fact that we've managed to build up our leadership share in female leadership amongst the entirety of the organization by 50% over the past 4 years. Only 4 years it is. But then again, 50% sounds impressive, but we started at 6.8 only. So at the moment we've achieved 10%, and that is definitely not tapping into the talent pool and the potential that is there waiting not only for Wipro but for the world, that should come from female leadership and female leadership skills. And I believe we've seen the potential also in female leadership skills in world politics recently, and maybe we are longing more than ever on a more diverse and more balanced leadership quality also on that scale. Coming back to team initiative, I believe truly that it needs to come from the teams. You can't plan that only on the whiteboard and turn this into a policy. You need to tap into the creativity and the connections and the network of the entire community. Again, coming back to it takes a village to it. And maybe one example also from our region is, and I mentioned my design background here as well, is our collaboration with the Nobel Peace Center in Oslo. That is an initiative, actually it's a partnership that resulted through our very own team's interest, passion, and initiative to it, and the freedom and the curiosity to reach out, to use personal contacts and to bring that into the conversation with the company. And it helped us, it allowed us basically to create the Oslo Pax Conference last year on diversity matters. And this small initiative born by our very own team on the ground eventually also enjoyed, of course, the attention and the contribution and support from our global CEO at Wipro to it. So it is really tapping into the potential, tapping into the creativity of the crowd that we have in the team to unleash what is possible, truly. Same goes for our DEI programs. That is also really taken on ground by the teams, be it in Israel, be it in Scandinavia, in other places in Europe, or in India. And the team engagement, of course, is also super important. We have a very active, very vocal LGBTQ community. I'm very proud of that, knowing that this is also happening in not only in a creative and culturally very open industry already, but it allows to really represent the full society to it and to participate, and again allowing to create that safe space. But even on a maybe more practical or more hands-on aspect to it, I love the example of Wipro's biodiversity campus in India. We have 3 of them already built. We want to create more of those, and actually all our new campi and business centers are committed to allow for this biodiversity aspect to it, in order to also shape and drive the attentiveness and the appreciation of biodiversity of nature to it. But team engagement also plays an important role, because our colleagues at those campi are actually personally taking care of the fields and take over godparentship on some of the aspects. And again, so it comes back to how can you engage, how can you involve your people to it. And again, it means spirit matters. And maybe to close with that, it's also all about team-powered innovation in the end. And that finally results back in my personal responsibility. We offer technical innovation for sustainability solutions to it, but it thrives on creativity. It thrives on being innovative, and if we allow our team members to bring in this freedom and to bring in this confidence also of being themselves, we simply also know that they are much more creative, and they can actually bring the most into that. Some example on this clearly is also the Velo Hub. This is an example now from Germany, a 100% initiative from our team members, and it helped us to earn and get recognized by the German Sustainability Award. To it. This would not have happened if we would have planned it. It was driven by the spirit and by the passion of the team. And maybe with that, I say tak, thank you, and danke for having me.
Thanks so much, Wolfgang. I think that with this presentation, you actually it's a great segue into our Q&A, because we should set the frame. And I think you've done that really well here. And I want to actually take a step back, because what we've seen now with our speakers is a concept and focus of employee engagement within the context of sustainability. And that's not something that was perhaps on the radar 5 to 10 years ago, because when we started talking sustainability, we did very much not low-hanging fruit, but lower-hanging fruit. When we come to ESG components, when we come to impact investment, when we come to matrix and measuring, which is environment, and renewable energy and resource efficiency. Not easy decisions to take, but perhaps more tangible and more concrete than the S of the ESG, which is the social environment. And you've touched upon these key words that will now come into our conversation, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, social and psychological safety, really much taking the employee and the community into focus. And especially with the last 2 years that we've had, where our employees are more than just one person, but their families, the ways in which to create and nurture this space becomes increasingly important and has given us results already. So I think with that frame, we go into the conversations in the Q&A. And before I start asking the speakers and panelists, I'll reach out to the audience. Please feel free to raise your hand. If you raise your hand, your question can be in the chat, or it can be if you want to come on camera and ask the question directly to our speakers, or to SIBC as well, of course. And we'd love to have your participation as we move forward. But my first question is to Sukhmani. Now, I've spoken to all the speakers before they came on camera today. And so one thing that was really important, Sukhmani, from what you were talking about is the way in which you have opportunities to interact regionally with your teams and play that back to the employees in the countries you work in. And you are the South Asia representative or Oriflame Sustainability Community. Could you tell us about that and how that's had impact on making changes on the ground within the country?
Sure. I will again share my screen to address that better for the audience. We have a sustainability strategy which is focused on 3 pillars. It's very deep, it's very technical, but how do we translate this strategy to our employees. How do our employees know what is happening on ground, and how can they become the change makers? So, I mean, looping to what Wolfgang mentioned, that sustainability is the responsibility of everyone, and it is, not something which is charity. So at Oriflame, we focus on how do we take our employees on this journey. For sustainability can be a very technical topic for all to tread through. So as I mentioned, we have the Sustainability Ambassadors Program, in which we have interdepartmental group of employees who are not necessarily in the role of sustainability, but rather they are driven by the passion, and they support the company's path towards sustainability. So these are people from different departments across regions. The main purpose of this forum is to provide training and education to different people in different departments, so that they know about our product sustainability, about the different certifications that we have, what are Oriflame's actions and achievements, because we say that we have our science-based targets approved. What do we mean by science-based targets? It is very important for employees to be on board, because all the employees in different departments are somehow or the other responsible for engagement with the brand partners and thereby with the consumers. And we want to drive the SDG, which is responsible consumption and production, and we have to have everyone on board. So with this forum, we share it's a knowledge sharing platform. We share knowledge about sustainability so that it is disseminated from the sustainability department to different departments. And then these regions also share on what are the emerging social trends on beauty, because even though beauty may be global, but the campaigns, the how it is driven, it may vary from region to region. What works globally may not work for some region, right? These regions also these ambassadors are also responsible for driving some, let's say, local projects, and they share their best practices as to what works in their region. For instance, we have been driving local take-back schemes with a lot of regions in alignment with local regulations. So these are driven by these ambassadors. So this is a platform wherein we share information with different people from non-sustainability background, so that we can have everyone on board. So answering your question, Aarti.
Thanks so much, Rukmini. I think the point that you make about adapting, but also onboarding, so everyone's on the same learning platform. That's so important when you talk about sustainability, especially with employee engagement, that sustainability creates an opportunity for ambassadorship. And something that is great to have the companies we have with us today to talk more about, and you touch upon it, is the role of cultural differentiation. Of course, objectives and missions and visions can be similar, but how do you create the roadmap to achieve them in different geographic specifications? Joydeep Dash has his hand up from the audience, which is great. Joydeep, can you come on camera and ask your question?
Aarti, I'm in a little bit at home with my children, so I prefer not the camera, but I can ask the question surely.
Please.
My question would be to Wolfgang in Wipro. You talk about numbers like 1.2 million heads kind of impacted with a single CSR initiative. But if we look at, for example, Europe, which is so diverse, when we talk about just Scandinavia alone, we have Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland. It's very difficult to drive an initiative which can have that kind of an impact. How do you manage a kind of a large program in Europe, given its cultural diversity?
Yeah, Joydeep, you you mentioned my name, but I'm not quite sure whether you actually are referring to Pavan's introduction. Could that be?
Yeah, probably. This I know for sure. Like TCS also has these kind of really large programs. Maybe the question can go to Pavan.
Okay, so thanks, Jaydeep. Let me talk about what we do. And so, one of the, I think, common thing which we understand is that while all are human beings, every country, there is difference in culture, the way people react to various things. So there is a lot of sensitivities. In our company, one of the core value is global mindset. And that's to focus on and ensure that people understand that every nationality is different from a cultural perspective, and we need to understand the sensitivities across. That actually helps us bind virtual teams, because today you'll be happy. I talked about the product development. So we do deliver full vehicle programs where somebody is working from North America, somebody working from UK, Germany, Vietnam, Thailand. So it's across the globe, and those teams come together and they deliver. So we are trying to make cohesive groups and bringing the cultural sensitivity. To talk about one program which should help us understand what is happening, we have in Tata Group, which is far more bigger and diverse than what Tata Technology is. We have a group volunteering program. And what happens is every quarter across the globe, people can decide and set aside a couple of hours for doing community work, depending on what they are trying to do, what the need of a particular location is, what the need of a particular area is. And so this volunteering program is very powerful because it is voluntary, it is totally choice by people. And so this program has been bringing people together. And I'm happy to say that Tata Technology, while not such a large company, has been contributing to volunteering hours, I think in top 5 companies in the group from the perspective. So that's, so you have to keep trying different things. Important thing is that we need to understand the cultural diversity. We need to respect it. And at the same time, see, at the end of the day, most of the human needs, as you saw during the pandemic, they were vividly visible, are similar. The way of doing them and all that is different. And if we are sensitive about the people, I think we can bring everybody together. And that's
Thanks
what
so much, Pavan. I think Wolfgang has a response to the question asked, or is it a different comment?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. It is really big. I wanted to make sure that the question that addressed Pavan's topic was addressed, but it's really coming back into you have to, of course, recognize and acknowledge the regional peculiarities, what is needed there. It's also important that, and I believe I mentioned that, not everything that counts can be counted again to it. So it is not necessarily only by creating big numbers. Of course, it is better if you can reach more people, but the impact is not necessarily only by reaching a lot of people only. It's also about the leverage. It's also about the impact to it. And I believe it was also you, Pavan, who mentioned or gave that that metaphor with teaching people how to catch a fish instead of having to give them a fish. I believe it's exactly in this empowerment, and that looks different in Sweden than it does in India. To it in Sweden, I believe, just like in Germany, the challenges we have is more coming from a growing gap within the society. How can we include also population with a migration background? How can we allow them an equal access to the opportunities that are there within our society? How can we support them in order to avoid an even bigger gap into it? And the challenges in other places in the world are different, and we need to respond accordingly.
I think that's a really good point, and that's something SABC talks about a lot in the discussions we have, which is having similar visions and ambitions, but understanding how to achieve them needs a little bit more nuance, like you say. I'm going to reach out now to Sanjeev before I come to the next question to our speakers, Excel docs. Sanjeev, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Aarti. See, being a whipwright, I was also not able to, stop myself and then thought of substantiating the Wolfgang at this thing. So 22 years back when I was there in the whip, so the sustainability, recycling, the things, upcycling, waste management, those things were day in, day out our, the participations in those things. So, no, yeah, so I mean, thank you very much, Aarti, for bringing the, very holistic sessions where we have a representation from the large organizations too. I was thinking that, there were 2 points I wanted to bring it here. We have the large corporate participations, though. One of the very important things perhaps is like a sustainability partnership, how we can bring our efforts, what we are doing in the silos, in a larger logical frame kind of a thing, so that the impact should be high. So that is, and then how we can really share the best practices, how we can open up the the opportunity for the more collaborations and partnerships with the various firms or the individuals kind of a thing, so in order to make the impact higher. So this is one of the questions I really wanted to ask, whether Pawan, Wolfgang, or or anyone else from the speaker side who they can answer it. And also, like, I wanted to share some of our the initiatives what we have in the from SDG 6.0 point of view, where we have also seen, like, engaging with the informal the society, or the silent actors brings a lot of the huge changes. So how these organizations, the large organizations what we have today in the speaker panels, they look at it, this thing as a one of a very strong point to accelerate some of the sustainability practices.
I'm going to actually, before I reach out to speakers, what I think we can do, given that we have a small community with us today talking about these issues, is we'd like everyone who wants to share the work they're doing, irrespective of the kind of company you're coming from. We will create a small community of sharing online and on LinkedIn, so we can actually take people like Excel docs and link up your experiences, what you offer, and what's happening, in this case, in the large company side. I think it's a great point you make in terms of creating partnerships. But in response to Sanjeev's question, would anyone like to respond?
May I?
Satish, absolutely.
Yeah. Sanjeev, I know the second part I'd like to take on how can you collaborate on sustainability on ESG as a platform, if I've understood your query correctly. 2 things I must tell you here. Already, very recently, last month, Net Zero Coalition in India has started. We are like within 10, 12 SBTi signatories and all that started. But going ahead, maybe when I'm sitting on this platform, I like that, can we have within Sweden chambers, we can create one specific, verticals on sustainability, and wherein we all can work collaboratively. And to start with, can we, as you said, the informal sector working with them, can you take as a top priority agenda, and we all start working, maybe starting with the compendium of all of them, where are they, what are they doing and all. Yesterday evening, somebody connected me on Twitter, a person who is working on mangroves at Sundarban individually. It claims that over 1 lakh conservancy is already done without any support and all those things. Those kind of bright case studies are already there. As you said, we need to put them together in a very organized way. And let's see if you all can support them together as a collaborative platform. That is one way. In addition, there is already a lot of philanthropic support. And when I say philanthropic, not for social sector, it's purely for environmental sector also. So they can also come and bridge that gap to get it done along with us. That's what precisely when I was listening to you was coming to my mind.
Thanks, Pavan. Yep.
Over and back to
Yeah,
you.
certainly.
Just on from SIBC side, we have, of course, a sustainability vertical within the company now. And we're very happy, of course, to have one of our board members, Linda Andren from Gunnebo, leading that initiative together with Linda Johansson, sustainability advisor to SIBC. And what we're talking about here is growing that community, something we will definitely take up in the conversations after today's session. It's impossible to get everything in 1.5 hours. This needs to continue. And it's really good to see that initiative and interest is here with the community that's joined us today. But I want to raise a point of little question to something that's been raised by the speakers so far, which is the concept of impact and measuring. Every one of our speakers has, from their company side, sustainability reports that outline year on year what's being done by the community, by the industry, and what steps you'd like to take from this point on. Now, SKF is one of those companies that is looking to take sustainability the very mainstream approach. And Prashant, you touched upon the work you're doing with the employees on the ground. Could you tell us more about what you're doing on the ground, how you measure this? I think you're on mute, Prashant.
Yeah. So you asked about what we are doing with the employee.
With the employees upskilling, exactly.
Upskilling. So we have the upskilling program for the employees on as a training center called Kushal, wherein we train all the new coming employee as well as existing employees for the training program. We have a specialized program on the awareness about energy saving and energy management, as well as we also ask them to work on different kaizens and ideas during the tenure at SKF. And then we have a very good response to that in the upskilling program, as well as post-working to them in the plans. Apart from that, for the community also, we have upskilling program that is mainly for the kids who has passed 10th or 12th or failed 10th or 12th standard, and we are upskilling them on the two-wheeler and four-wheeler repair courses. We are providing them jobs to automotive sector distributors without any funding or something, and post that we are also supporting them by providing the seed capital to start their own businesses. So by this we have skilled approximately 3,000 students from the community across India through 6 skill development centers, and almost 20 to 25 of them have started their own career as a garage mechanic. So that's what we do, upskilling within the organization as well as outside the organization.
And that's excellent. Something we touched upon when we spoke earlier also is the way in which this upskilling allows you to grow leadership from within and to actually create community in a different way. From a personal perspective, Prashant, what do you feel has been one of the strongest actions that SKF has taken to build this?
To build the sustainability
through leadership from engagement that you have within the community, within the company.
Okay. For the leadership development in the sustainability field, overall thing, we have been working on the SKF care model, and striving for the green is one of our agenda. So within all our decisions are based on its impact on the environment, and that's one part our leadership take care that, okay, whether you are really taking the care of environment or not, and then that has been percolated to the employee in a various manner. So for example, we are having various celebrations of the under the Simplify the Future campaign, wherein we ask our employee to share their sustainability practices, what they are doing within the community as well as at home, and as well as at the offices, and they are sharing very good examples. So for example, one of the employee has been consistently working on the plastic reduction within the community, and he has made a way to escape that. Many of the things within the escape where we have the plastic use, he asked to reduce that, and we are happily reduce that particular plastic use. Some of the employees are working on the composting part of, and then we have given them more leverage and communication that how our employees are working the composting part. Some of them have their own sustainable homes, and then they have built. So we also given them face within the organization. So this way, we are trying to maximize, create a leadership who is more sustainable in nature. There has been special awards on the sustainability related project. There has been for workmen also, if the energy related saving is there or something, he has been awarded. This way, entire leadership from top to bottom are concerned about the sustainability, mainly environmental sustainability. Apart from that, as the discussion is going on the social part of ESG reporting. So we have our code of conduct, which has been implemented across our value chain. All our distributors and our suppliers has signed the code of conduct for escape, which talks about the human right, it talks about the environmental things, minimum wages, and even wage parity. So everything has been included in the code of conduct. And we are proud that every year we are adding more and more supplier who has been completing the code of conduct. So this way, within the value chain, we are trying that holistic view of sustainability implementation is taken care, and we are really proud of that particular development. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Prashant. And I think what you're touching upon, of course, is what's come across in the conversation earlier, is that you can provide a framework and an environment, but you cannot lead. Passion should lead, actually. And every employee takes on their own roles and their own interests, and you help them develop that. And that's great to hear. When it comes to, of course, employee feedback, especially during COVID, I'd actually like to ask Prathush from L&T Infotech. You've been working now, of course, L&T is based, you've got SKF, of course, Swedish company in India, with the conversations that happen on Indian implementation level, L&T, Indian company coming into Sweden, setting up very large frameworks, sustainability, diversity, equity, inclusion. It'd be great to hear from you, given the challenge that COVID has placed already on what's happening within the industrial framework, definitely for employees. What have you seen as a response you've got from your employees in the last two years with the actions you've been taking to provide that safety for them? I think you're on mute.
Aarti, are you meaning only for the employees or for the entire value chain?
For the entire value chain.
Okay, so let me start with employees. At employees, there is a business resilience team that has been created. Those who looked after each employees and their family members. One good thing was came out with 15 days of additional holidays that were granted to any of the positive cases, bare minimum kind of things. And from there, people started growing up, and it was not in addition to your regular leaves that you have in hand. Coming back to the supply chain and all, because it was a IT-based enabled company, so a lot of product were developed for the supply chain itself, especially the SME kind of the supply chain partners that we have. And we started supplying them, and so that they can start working remotely, yet be productive to the supply chain, to their own company, and also to LTI as a whole supply chain, and without even seeing each other. And that has grown such a big that some of this product is now as a normal sellable product for the LTI in the market. I'll give you a small example on those lines. We are working deeply into mangroves and plantation, lakhs of plantation drive. Earlier, our supply chain people used to go down and physically monitored it to measure it. And we all know that anything that doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. And imagine every year if you're coming out to 5 lakhs of trees and somebody is going to physically measure, and COVID, it was not possible. Immediately, our IoT team set up with our ESG team and brought out a product by taking satellite imagery and all those things. And all those things could be done, including estimated carbon wood available and carbon sequestration in that. And today, this product are not sold to paper companies like others in India. So it has given good momentum.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm very cognizant of the time. And I want to thank everyone for being here. Before we end, I would like to hand over to Sarah Larsen, the head of Swedish Chamber of Commerce and Industry in India, one of our program partners along with the Embassy of India, to give us the closing remarks. And we'll reach out to everyone on email after this chat as well. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you very much, Arti. And I've been in the background listening into the conversation, and it's super interesting. I think this topic is a vast one, which we cannot cover within 1.5 hours for sure. And it's very interesting to hear all of you. And I was just thinking of, and Arti and I was talking about this topic as for discussion. For me, it came out of an inspiration when I actually went to SKF's factory in November and saw how change or the thought of environmental improvements and how to impact our environment around us had become part of the employees' DNA, so that they were suggesting changes in production, in operations, in supply chain, and moving those on to suppliers and customers as well. And I think that's, it's very inspiring to see that. And what you have all spoken of, that when change becomes organic, it grows by itself, because people, we ourselves become agents of change, and it's not a programmed activity. And I think that's all what we strive for. So this has been very interesting. Thank you so much for all participating. And I'm saying thank you, Arti. That's your role as the moderator and leader of this event. But I just really want to give my appreciation as well. And thank you so much for having and partnering on this with us. Over to you, Arti.
Thank you, Sarah. No, I think we can all say thank you. I know we've got Mr. Dami there from the Embassy of India as well in Stockholm, and we can only make this possible in partnership. So thank you all for being part of the discussion today. We continue on LinkedIn, on email, and hopefully it doesn't stop with just this discussion. Thank you again.